Om Shri Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Vatarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavandau Punah Punah Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam अस्मदाचार्य पर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरु परम्पराम् ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेद विभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः उकारो अन्धकारो वै ऋकारस्तन्निवर्तकः अन्धकारनिरोधित्वात् गुरुरित्यभिधीयते ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति शांति शांतिः ओम नमो भगवते वैवस्वताय मृत्यवे ब्रह्म विद्या आचार्याय नचिकेतसे नमः. So, we are seeing the meaning of Kaṭha Upaniṣad in a systematic way. Kaṭha Upaniṣad is a traditional text which reveals the reality about an individual. The intrinsic nature of an individual is highlighted and established. It's a dialogue between Lord Death and a young boy. The whole topic will be in the form of dialogues. A boy came to the world of death and asked about the reality of the death and the birth. Is there any life after departing from one body for an individual? How can we come out of this death and birth cycle? For all this, Lord Death is giving these beautiful teachings. And we are in the second chapter of the Kaṭha Upaniṣad and the second section. He elaborated very beautifully. Lord Death given the vision from different standpoints. Now he is continuing to teach Nachiketas about the intrinsic nature of an individual. When I say intrinsic nature means, what is the base of this body? That is the intrinsic nature of an individual. If I say with an example, sugarcane juice is the intrinsic nature of a sugarcane. Oil is the essence or the intrinsic nature of a sesame seed. Water is the intrinsic nature of the ice cube. So intrinsic nature means that which make the things possible in this world. Without that, any object will be nullified. So, in reality, human being is not a body. Why I say human being? For other living beings, there is no teaching, there is no traditional teacher, there is no explanation because they live according to their eh, instincts in the creation. Prakriti, they live according to their instinct. For only the human being, there is a teaching, there is an anxiety to know about oneself. Further thinking. When I see a pot, I go, my next thought will be like this: who made this pot? How it is possible? How it hold a round shape? It holds a round shape. Why there is a mouth for this pot? How it is made into? What are the instruments involved? Who is behind this pot? Who is the pot maker? All these thoughts will arise in one's mind after seeing a pot. If you are a human being, for a donkey or a monkey, what is there inside the pot? Just they will look inside the pot and they will pass away. So the point is, human beings are the only living being who go through teachings, who have the anxiety to know what I am. So the intrinsic nature of a human being is something extraordinary. All the features pertaining to a human body is not at all there for this intrinsic nature of the human body or the substratum of the human body. The base of the human body will not have any features pertaining to the human body. For example, human body is subject to death and birth. In reality, I am not being a human body. My reality is free from death and birth. Human body is subject to metamorphosis and it will grow daily per second. There will be always modifications and changes for a human body from the first second of the birth to the last second. But in reality, I being a living being, I don't go through any modifications. I am free from all kinds of alterations and modification. Like these, lot of features pertaining to the human body is not at all there for myself, for the listener. The first thing is that a listener is an immortal being, is free from subject, free from death and birth. So that one needs to focus on the real nature of an individual human being, and which is being presented by Lord Death in a systematic way. And we are in the second chapter, second session, 13th verse today. All other verses are explained and it's available in the YouTube, and the address are there in our group. Those who want to know what is gone beyond, they can look into this. Everything is free. Classes are free, and also in the YouTube, also everything is free. You can distribute to anybody this link and the YouTube channel. Why? Traditional teaching is always free from our traditional Indian traditional teachers. It's all free of cost. Due to their compassion, they teach everybody in this world because they want everybody to be free from sorrows and worries. So, if you want to know what is gone beyond, you can go through that classes which are being loaded in our YouTube. Okay. Now I will read this verse which we have to see today's in our class. I will read first. I will give you word by word meaning, and I will give you what Shankara has written the commentary for this verse. Remember, we are studying each and every verse according to the tradition. Shankara's commentary is the main topic for each and every verse. What Shankara has told for this verse. As it is, we will discuss in the class. Now, I will read this verse. Verse number 13, second chapter, second section. Nityaha anityanam chetanaha chetananam ekaha bahunam yo vidhatati kaman tam atmastham yena anupashyanti dhiraha tesham shantihi shashvati na itaresha. Once more, I will read. Nityaha anityanam chetanaha chetananam acetananam chetanaha chetananam ekaha bahunam yo vidhatati kaman tamatmastam yena anupashyanti dhiraha tesham shantihi shashvati samaha. So, Lord Death is giving a direct advice for an individual being who is listening this Kaṭha Upaniṣad. Remember, the whole teaching is meant for the whole humanity, regardless of your age, regardless of your gender, regardless of your caste, regardless of your religion. You are always a person who will be blessed by this teaching. Your parentage is not evaluated. Your caste is not evaluated. Whatever experiences you have gone through is not at all a topic while listening to this class. Only Lord Death has given this teaching for the welfare of the entire humanity. So that each and every individual is important for Lord Death. Keeping as an instrument Nachiketas, a young boy, he given these whole teachings for the welfare of our entire humanity. So it will be worthy to listen the class in coming days also. Now I will go to the meaning. Lord Death says, this reality, which is the substratum of this human being, the base of the human being, is Nityaha. Word Nityaha means eternal, truth, real thing, Nityaha, permanent. All these meanings will fit for Nityaha. Nityaha Anityanam. Anityam, impermanent. So Lord Death says to Nachiketas, this truth is eternal, which is all pervading in every living being and also in every insentient subjects and objects like rock, stars, sand. All these things are insentient from our perspective standpoint. But living beings are sentient. Lord Death says, Nityaha Anityana. The truth is permanent, eternal, will not change at all, even though it is existing in each and every temporary living beings and temporary insentient things. Anityaha, instability, unstable thing, which is temporary in this world. Anitya. Even our human body is subject to death. When there is a date of birth, of course, we will have a date of death. This is what Lord Death has told Achetana, Anityana. Even though this body is impermanent in this world, the base, the essence of the body, which is not perceived by any our sense organs, that base is permanent, eternal, immortal, never subject to destruction. That is called Nityam, eternal. Direct meaning is eternal or permanent. Nityaha Anityanam. It is permanent, it is eternal, even though it is the base of all non-eternal things. It involves living beings also, non-living beings also. The entity which is the creator, which is the base of a human body, is eternal, even though it appears inside a human body or in this world. Nityaha, Anityana. The first word is singular, the second word is plural. Now we have to see the proper answer. Among all living beings and non-living beings, what is invariably present is permanent, even though all these things are impermanent in this world. So through this, Lord wants to say to us, you are eternal. The listener will not have any death or any birth at all in reality. When I say in reality means body is not a real thing. In Sanskrit, this body is called mithya. What is meant by mithya? I am going to talk about that word. First of all, you understand the whole meaning of nityaha anityana. among all living beings and non-living beings in this universe or in this creation, which is invariably present everywhere. That entity, which is in the form of consciousness, that entity, which is the source of all happiness, that entity, which is the source of consciousness, that entity is permanent, even though all living beings and non-living beings are subject to impermanent or subject to destruction. One needs to think more. Even if my body departs from this world, I will be permanent here. There is no moving at all. There is no going to heaven. There is no going to hell. There is no going to an in-between space between heaven and hell. I will be here only. This is the real fact regarding an individual living being. Your actions will not touch this entity to make it go to heaven or hell. Actions are done by body. As long as you have, I am this body, then only these actions have some purpose to do within you. When you realize that you are not this body, I am something, an entity which is behind the body, and the body is a superimposition which never existed at any three point of time. Body is just a superimposition on this entity. This entity is the truth of a human being. That is what Lord wants to convey to Nachiketas and for us. You are not a human being, you are a permanent entity, eternal consciousness. And this is called truth, Satyam. It has another name called self. It has another name called Brahman. In English, consciousness, supreme consciousness. This supreme consciousness is the truth of every individual. Like water is the essence of the ice cube. Even the ice cube melts, ice cube vanishes, water stay back. Another example. Clay is the intrinsic nature of a pot in this empirical world. When you demolish a pot, the clay remains. Clay is eternal from the standpoint of empirical reality, not from the ultimate standpoint. Okay. From the empirical standpoint, Vyavaharika Satta. From this world, when we look into a pot is subject to destruction. You can destruct a pot, but clay remains. Before being into a pot, the clay remains. When it became a pot, then also clay is there. After the destruction of the pot, clay remains. So, from the empirical standpoint, The clay is permanent. Of course, clay will also vanishes when a time comes. But for understanding the Nityaha Anityanam, I am giving you the example. Clay is the real fact of a pot. Pot is subject to destruction, like our body. Human body is a subject to destruction. But the intrinsic nature of the human body is not subject to destruction. It stays back because it is formless, it is attributeless, it is eternal, it is in the form of consciousness. It is the only one thing in the world, no other second entity to make a destruction or to cause a destruction for this consciousness. Thus, this entity is the real fact of a human being. This is called Nityaha Anityana. Now you should know certain points regarding these two words. We have three different things in this world. One is called truth. Other is called untruth. There are certain things between truth and untruth. Now you should be very careful while listening this topic, okay? Even if you have doubt, you can put in your group and I will answer for the doubt. This topic is something very much essential to understand how my body, even though it go through lot of emotions, lot of worries, lot of sorrows. If somebody touch me, I feel emotions. Then how can it be an untrue thing, an unreal thing? This is going to explain now. There are three things in this world. One is the truth. We will come to the last. Other is untruth, never existed at any point of time. Like rabbit's horn, Shasha Vishanam. There is no such thing in the world. There is no horn for any rabbit in the world. If you have seen something with an horn, you are a scientist. Your name will be given to that rabbit because you discovered that. Even Shankara says there is no rabbit horn in this world. Rabbits don't have horns in creation. Similarly, hair of a turtle. There is no hair for any turtle in this world. We may have hair, it may gray, it may black, it may have burgundy color, it may have green color like a football players used to paint their hair. Creation has given the best color. You need not to paint or something to do. You accept your maturity, you accept your real color. Self-acceptance is important while listening the classes. You accept what is given by the Lord in this creation. You need not to change your color. You need not to want to become another personality in front of people. You accept as it is, as you are. That is the beauty which reflects in the noble-hearted people about you. So, rabbit's horn is a non-existent thing. Turtle's hair is a non-existing thing. A fallen flower from the sky, Ka Kusuma, Akasha Kusuma. There is no flower falling from the sky. Somebody has put the flower from the sky. Somebody has dropped the flower from heaven so that I got a flower from the sky. There is no such flowers in this world. There are no such flowers in this world. Any flower, Swamiji, I got a flower from a place where there is no tree at all. There is a flower laying down in the ground. It may be from the heaven. It may be fallen from the sky. It is not fallen from the sky. Due to the wind 1 kilometer far away, there is a tree. From that tree, the flower has been carried away by the wind few kilometers or few meters away. In reality, there is no a flower falling from the space or heaven. Shankara gives all these examples for non-existing entity. Rabbit's horn is a non-existing entity. Flower fallen from the space is a non-existing entity. There is no such flower. We can say literally by our words, that's all. Hair of a turtle. There is no hair for any turtle in the world. Even one more example I will give you. Kagadandam. Teeth of a crow. There is no teeth for a crow. We know that. Of course, crow is a bird. I think everybody knows that. There is no teeth for the crow. Kagadandam. It is only uttered by our mouth. There is no such a thing. These are all non-existing entity. So the first analysis is that knowing what are non-existing entities in the world. In Sanskrit, they are called two different words, tucham. Atyanda abhavam, never existed at any point of time. It is only existing in your words when you utter. It never existed in this world. No teeth of a crow is being discovered by anybody in this world. No hair is discovered by anybody of a turtle. Similarly, all these examples, they are called tucham, atyanda abhavam, non-existing entities. Now, I come to the truth. Truth is something which is never subject to decay or destruction. Truth is something which will stay back in spite of all the names and forms changing in this world. Truth, Satyam. In Sanskrit, the truth is called Satyam. It can also say Nityam. Ultimate truth of each and every living being or non-living being in this world is supreme consciousness in English, and in Sanskrit it is called Brahman or the self of an individual in the form of consciousness, who is the creator of this world, who is also in each and every point of this creation because of this, by virtue of its all-pervasiveness. It's everywhere. But it is not visible. It is invisible through our senses. Why? Formless. I have already answered a few times. Something which is formless, how can we identify? Everybody identifies. If you ask somebody, are you existing? Yes, I am here only, Swamiji. Who don't identify oneself. But the only thing that is that they identify that they are the body. I exist because this is my body. I am this body. No. I exist is a right statement, but I am this body is a wrong statement due to the erroneous notion, due to the misidentification about oneself. That is why scriptures are the authentic text to reveal the real nature of a person. As an individual, if I have enough courage and maturity to look into what scripture says about me, you will identify yourself. That you are the eternal, immortal Brahman, which is infinite happiness. There is no need of any second object in order to be happiness. No need of a wife, no need of children, no need of car. In spite of a secondary thing, if you identify yourself, I am this supreme consciousness, you will be also gaining the eternal happiness. Whatever happiness we get through a relationship, through some children, through buying a car, through eating some good food, that are all material happiness. It has a beginning, so too it has an end. We are not talking about that happiness. We are talking about the eternal happiness. In spite of any subjects or any object in this world, one will be totally happy within oneself. It is not that a person who is happy will be always laughing. No. If you look into the noble-hearted people in this world, nobody will be posing to a picture with their pleasant, laughing face. They will be in the normal position, but inside there is infinite happiness. So in reality, don't go away from the topic. It's very important. I think you need to listen 3-4 times to understand properly. There are 3 things in the world. First, I took what is non-existent, which is called tucham, atyanda abhavam. Never existed in this creation at any point of time. Like kagadandam, crow's teeth, kurma romam, turtle's hair, shashavishanam, rabbit's horn, kakusumam, a flower fallen from the heaven or sky. Never existed at any point of time. It's only in our words. It's an imagination. Never, never. This is called tucham or atyanda abhavam. Now, second, I came to the real thing. Consciousness is the essence of this entire creation, which is also called one's own self. It is also called Brahman. It is also called Supreme Consciousness. This self is the truth of this entire creation. In Sanskrit, it is also called Atma, something which is near to an individual. In that meaning, Atma, this consciousness. I am evident of this consciousness, but I am not clear what is remaining behind this body, mind, sense complex. That is why Pramana, authority of the scriptures. When scriptures comes into picture in one's life, one will come to know through his or her traditional teacher what is the reality of a person. This is called the eternal truth, Nityaha. This supreme consciousness is the immortal thing in the world, eternal thing in the world. Amritaha, never subject to death or birth. It is the essence of mine and your also. We say Tattvamasi, Aham Brahmasmi. Every sentences reveal that you are not subject to death and birth. This is called Nityaha. permanent. Now, there is another thing in this world which will appear in front of your senses, in front of your body. Even though it appears, if you inquire into that, it will result to another thing. I will again repeat, this word is so important. There are certain things in the world, it seems to be obtaining in this creation. When you give an analyze, when you analyze that, it will result to another thing. It only appears right in front of you as though it is real, but it is an apparent reality. For example, stock example, pot. Pot is a real entity right from my childhood. But I give an analysis to that. And I will see that there is no such thing called pot. It is only appearing in front of my senses. If we analyze, there is no existence of pot apart from clay. Clay is the essence of that pot. Without clay, there is no survival or existence of clay. But pot is there, everybody says. In reality, there is no pot, there is only clay. Without clay, there is no pot at all. Even though it appears for our senses, even though it serves some purpose in our daily life, even though it is there in front of me, it never existed at any point of time. Apart from its original thing presented in it, there is no existence of a pot at any point of time, even though it appears as it is. If you take away the clay, there is no pot at all. Similarly to a golden ornament. For example, golden ring. If you take away the whole gold from the ring, where is the ring? The ring is only inside our mouth. This is something to be understood properly. Something which is in front of my eyes, but I give an analysis. If I put an inquiry on that, whether it exists or not, it will resolve to another thing. It will resolve to another thing. Like, if we analyze whether my body exists or not, I will tell somebody, show your body. They say, this is my body. Or they will put the hand in the head, this is my body. Or they put their hand in the chest, I am this body. Or they will put their hands in the legs, I am this body. So, each and every organ in our body have a name. All these organs are intelligently put together and we give a name called human body. 2 hands, 2 eyes, 1 nose, 1 mouth, 2 ears, 1 heart, 2 lungs, 2 kidneys, pancreas, intestine, etc., etc. Lot of things. Nervous system, nails, fingers, all these come together and become one single body. I want to know what is called body. Wherever you touch, I have a proper name for that organ. You cannot show me what is body. If you put an inquiry within yourself, the body vanishes or body results into different organs. Even though it appears as body, if you put an inquiry on that body, it resolves into another thing. This analysis will continue. It will end up in supreme consciousness, which we will discuss afterwards. Now I am explaining there are other things apart from these two things already explained. Satyam and Tucham, reality and non-existing thing, entity and non-entity. Apart from this, there is another thing called, we have a beautiful name given by Adi Shankara, Mithya. Mithya is told, it is also called in the name of Anritam. It is not a non-existent. Of course, it is also an existing entity. There is no categorical analysis in Mithya. If you ask to me, are you having a body? Of course, I say I am having a body. If you give an analysis for my body, there is no body at all. Similarly, you say this is forest. Show me what is forest. If you touch something, I will say this is tree, and a lot of trees are there, and you give a name called forest. Like this cake. Show me what is cake. You touch the cake, and I will say it's a flour, it's a sweet, it's a grapes, it's some nuts. What is the cake? So, mithya, a thing which is not non-existent, a thing which is not existing at all. In this creation, everything is mithya. It seems to be in front of me, but if I put an inquiry whether it is existing or not, it will resolve to another thing. Like if I put an inquiry on the pot will resolve into clay. Clay remains no pot at all. Similarly, anything you analyze, anything you put an inquiry in this world, golden bangle, golden ring, golden nose ring, anything. Give me the ring and you keep the gold. If I say there is no such a ring apart from the gold, this is called mithya. The whole creation, whole world. In Sanskrit, it is called Jagat. Jagat is mithya. Mithya means it's not a non-existing entity. Okay? It's not like rabbit's horn. It is there right in front of you, but it is not an existent entity, or it's not a non-existing entity. It serves some purposes. Entire creation is mithya. This mithya is been told here in the name Anityanam. Never existed at any point of time. It may appear right in front of you, but it never existed at any point of time. Very beautiful. This sentence, this whole verse, coming verses also very beautiful. Before the conclusion, Lord Death want to convince you what is your real nature. You are not a non-existing entity. You are not any another thing called mithya. You are the eternal Brahman, the Satyam, the real fact, the real thing. The entire creation is mithya. This mithya is told here anitya, which is not permanent, which is temporary. Even though it appears It never existed at any point of time. What is the difference between non-existing entity and mithya? Non-existing entity never appears in front of you, never existed in this world, even you come to being. But mithya, the impermanent entity which appears right in front of you, but you give an inquiry, you will conclude that thing is not at all there, even though it appears or sensed by my senses. You say Father. Father never existed at any point of time. A human body is called Father. So Father resolved into a human body. Human body resolved into different parts or organs, and it will again result to some other things. Atom, molecules, particles, lot of things are there. I already explained before few classes. For the time being, you understand what is anityam. A thing which appears right in front of you, but if you give an inquiry, it will result to some other things. This is called anityam or mithya. This is not satyam. This is not eternal. So body is not eternal. To proving this fact, I given you satyam, mithya, discrimination. Three things are there: satyam, mithya, and tucham, anritam, which never existed at tucham, atyanta abhavam, which never existed at any point of time. This anritam and mithya is one and the same. You may perceive, but it is not at all there, like human body. Our Dayananda Swamiji gives another beautiful example. Sun rises in the east, sun sets in the west. In reality, if you study the science, it's only a phenomenon that sunrise. There is no movement for the sun. There is no set for the sun. Because of the rotation of the earth, we feel there is a sunrise, there is a sunset. After studying the science, I understood properly there is no sunrise, there is no sunset. This is mithya. After knowing, should I enjoy or not, Swamiji? Another question comes. Should I see the sunset or sunrise? After knowing there is no sunrise and sunset, you should enjoy. You are here to enjoy with your body, mind, sense, complex. You reward your mind, body, etc. Somebody who loves you. It's okay, no problem. But in reality, material happiness cannot give you the complete happiness. That you should know that. Sunrise is not a fact. Sunrise is a phenomenon. If at all it is a fact, the sun should rise everywhere. There is no such fact at all. A phenomenon which is being taken as a truth. Similarly, body is a phenomenon. It's not a real thing. Anything in the world appears to be real, but it is not at all real. It is mithya. Now, two more logic I should give to you to understand everything is impermanent in this creation. Everything is only having a temporary admission or temporary existence in this world. One I already given you. It appears in front of your senses, but you give an analysis, it will result to another thing. More one thing. Anything which depend upon something for its survival is also mithya. Anything which depend upon some other thing for its survival is also mithya. For example, our body depends upon so much factors. Vital force. Without this breathing, we cannot survive more than 5 minutes. Breathing is an essential action done by the body for its survival. Food, water, gravitational force, heart, lungs, all these things should work properly, then only you can survive. Now come to the second logic and make this together. Anything which depend upon a secondary thing for its survival is not a truth, not an entity which is satyam, which is true. This is the second logic. So first point I already given to you, it resolved to another thing. If you give an inquiry, it is mithya. Something which is depending some other thing for its survival is also mithya. Wherever there is mutual dependence for its survival, I take support my wife for my survival. She takes support my wife for her survival. Mutual dependency for the survival. Both are sick. This is called mutual dependency. I survive because of his support, and I survive because of her support. Similarly, there are things in this world which exist, and we sense their existence through a secondary thing. For example, sound. Sound can only sensed by our ears. Without ears, Shravanendriya vina, Shravanendriyam vina, na janami. Without my ears, sense organ, sense of hearing, listening, I cannot sense the sound in this world. So sound is depending the ears for its existence. Similarly, without sound, I don't know the capacity of my ears. Listening can be only possible when sounds are around me. When there is no sound in this universe, it is only meant to put some earring, not for listening, your ears. Because there is no sound, what is the purpose of ears? Only to put some earrings and change every month according to the trend. Another foolish thing. Your ears are attractive with only certain things, not with the earrings of the heroine. You need not to change according to the heroine changes. There are certain things which only fit for your ears. Fine. So ears depend on sound for its existence. Sound depends on ears for its existence. This is called mutual dependency. Mutually depending things also mithya, because they don't have their independent existence. Without somebody, they cannot survive. We are talking about the truth which is independently existing, and it lends satta for everything. This verse is going to elaborate beautiful things. First of all, you should know the background of the verse to know. That is why I explained. Nityaha, you will understand properly the truth behind everything, Brahman. But Anityaha means it is not a non-existence. Something you perceive in the world like your father, as mother, as children, birds, water, fire, your body, your subordinate, your head of the department, your bike, your car, your pen, all these things will fall under one subject, one word called Anityaha. Anityaha means not, it is not meant as non-existing entity. It appears in front of you, but if you give an inquiry, it never existed at any point of time, like pot, like ornament, like our body. These things are lending the satta, lending the energy for its existence from the truth. Thus, superimposition is the exact way of understanding the relationship between the truth and the untruth. When I superimpose a snake from my intellect, the snake never existed at any point of time, the rope existing all the way, but in the dark room, I never perceived the rope. So I superimpose as snake. Similarly, nobody told me I am this eternal consciousness, infinite happiness, Brahman. I took myself because somebody given me some idea that you are this body. And people also having committed the mistake and living a life. I am husband, I am wife, I am girlfriend, I am boyfriend, this is my house, this is my car. Nothing is there in reality. If you analyze the car, you will get some pieces of irons, some pieces of plastic, some rubber pieces like a tire tube, etc. The car will resolve to certain materials. There is no such a thing called car. But in reality, people say there is a car. Mithya, very beautiful name given by Adi Shankara. This Mithya, Brahmam Satyam, the truth is Brahman, Jagat Mithya. The whole world is much less Mithya. It cannot be categorically analyzed whether it is existing or whether it is a non-existing entity. If you give an analysis, it will result to some other thing, but it appears as though it is existing. This is called Anityanam. In all these existing things in front of your eyes, even though they are non-existent, it appears to be existing due to the presence of the truth behind their substractum, behind as their substractum. This is the whole meaning of Nityaha Anityanam. Very small words, but we should know. We took almost 1 hour to understand both words. Nityaha, the substratum of each and everything in this world. So remember that Mithya is not a non-existing entity. Mithya is something which appears in front of your senses. But if you give an analysis for that, it will result to another thing. That is why Anityana, which is not permanent. After the inquiry about the sunset or sunrise, you came to know that there is no sunset and sunrise. Still, there will be some sunrise in the next morning. Still, there will be a sunset in the next evening. Let it happen. In this world, you came to know there is no such a thing called parents or children or human beings. Just they are flesh and bones and etc. etc. Still, you say them, it is my parent, it is my children. If you analyze in reality, it will end up some flesh, some blood, some bones, some hair, some eyes, etc. etc. There is no such a thing, but it appears as though it exists in this world. This is called mithya, and this word anityanam is directly pointing the in this entire creation which is not existing at all at any point of time, even though it is appearing in our senses. The substratum is the main cause for their appearance, as the superimposition happens due to the substratum being there as truth. Similarly, the entire world seems to be shining, the entire world seems to be existing, the entire world seems to be serving some purposes for the people and the other living beings. But in reality, if you give an analysis for this world, external world, it will result to some other things like body, forest, what I have explained in the previous sessions. So, this is the meaning of Nityaha Anityanam. The substratum is the permanent thing, the truth behind all these impermanent, true impermanent things which you perceive in this creation. We will continue the same verse in this systematic way in the next class also. I hope you got the idea. If not, please listen this class again and again. The whole gist of Vedanta is in this Satyam Mithya discrimination. That is why Vivekam, discrimination is very important for a person to listen Vedanta. If you say, I don't have discrimination, develop it by listening again and again. Okay? We will conclude. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayantam न्यायेन मार्गेण महिमहीषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यम् लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः पृथिवी सस्यशालिनी देशोऽयं क्षोभरहितः ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय ओम पूर्णमतः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम नमस्ते।